thing,
Yeah.
which was, there are all sorts of things that we think about, especially with relationships. And I kind of think that that's because we don't want to think about how difficult about stopping loving someone or ending the love relationship. I mean, so sure, thinking about the silverware might seem weird, but it's a hell of a lot easier than thinking about having a broken heart.
Yeah.
And I think that heartbreak is the thing that, it's really scary.
Yeah.
And being in that moment sucks.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, that, I just wanted to ask about that.
Yeah, and when you're in heartbreak, you know, that is one of those tough places to be in. And when you're in it, an interesting thing would be conscious heartbreak. You know, because conscious heartbreak, a lot of heartbreak is, you know, loss, of course, number one. Well, in reality, as souls, you can't lose each other. It's impossible because you're all one. So the loss can be mitigated somewhat if you take a long enough view, which is hard to do when you're in the emotions of it, we understand. But there's also the sense of, I'll never have another one, or it'll never be as good as it was when it was good. You know, there's that sense of lack. So you have loss, and then you have lack. And what's hard about lack, of course, is convincing yourself that it's a fallacy. Because when you're feeling lack, it feels really, really, really true. But we've looked at lack so many times, you know that you can talk yourself out of lack. You may not be able to talk your physicality out of lack, but you can talk your brain out of lack. And those two things really are the main things we see about heartbreak. And it's extraordinary change very quickly. That's the other thing that's really hard. One day you live together, the next day you don't. Shit. That's a lot of change. And we all know, we don't even have to go into how triggering change is. So what gets lumped under heartbreak and what gets boxed in there, you know, it's like, let's throw a whole bunch of things in there. If you can tease them out individually, it's easier to manage. It's like, wow, I feel really sad right now. Okay, why do I feel sad? What aspect of this is making me feel sad? And then don't go to every freaking reason for feeling sad. But what specific one has risen up for me to look at just in this moment? I'm really sad because I really did like sleeping in the same bed with another person. And I miss that. Okay, good. It's good to know that that's an important thing for you. Or I'm really sad because, you know, I liked how he sang in the shower, whatever. And then I'm really glad because I feel like I'm getting back a part of myself that couldn't be present in that relationship. Or I'm really terrified because this is so much change. The idea of allowing myself to go through this much change this fast is terrifying. And of course, because you are DNA-based tribal beings, and you live alone or in very small groups now, when your very small living alone groups get fractured, that will create terror on the DNA level in a very deep way. Because let's say you're just a little tribe, and all of a sudden your tribe of 2 becomes a tribe of 1. Shit feels like it's hitting the fan on a DNA level. So wow, I feel really afraid to live alone. And then be very, 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 very cautious. You don't judge yourselves. I'm afraid of living alone. Period. This moment, that's the truth. And that's the thing the Visionaries were looking at. In this moment, that's the truth. So to project, how long will I have to live alone? How long will I feel afraid? Maybe I can get a roommate. Dissipates the truth of what is risen for you to examine, which is this fear is currently alive in me. And desiring to solve it is just a way of being in the hamster wheel mind. So it's like, I cannot change this, but I can be conscious that it's real in me. This is real in me. This is real in me. So yeah, it's hard to contemplate heartbreak, but you have relationships that change and transform just as you change and transform. And as you change and transform, part of what happens is you have heartbreak within yourself. You know, I'm giving up on parts of myself. I'm letting go of parts of myself that I've kept very close to me. Those childhood traumas, those years of victimhood, those years when I didn't think I was a creator, those years when I thought the world was out to get me, those are years of my life, and I'm just letting them go. You guys have a hard time sometimes taking clothes out of your closet and giving them away. You know, like those red shoes I haven't worn in 7 years. I don't know. I'm going to want those someday, right? So getting rid of 3 years of being a great victim is a lot to let go of. That's a lot of change. And it all comes back to, primarily it's changing your relationship to the survival instinct. You know that. But it all comes back to a new relationship to how you change, which is, of course, the survival instinct. But it's your relationship to change is something that's very much under the microscope right now. Your relationship to change. And that's why the Visionaries said, be really careful that this moment is valuable enough for you to stay in it, regardless of what you're tempted to do, that you choose for this moment. I choose for this moment, even though I'm tempted for a million other choices.